Olympia, Ronnie. What's up, bros and broettes? It's the Bro Hammer here, hitting you up with a quick recap of the 2017 Mr. Olympia. Once again, as a lot of people thought, Phil Heath, he is your reigning, defending Mr. Olympia. He tied Arnold Schwarzenegger with his seventh win in a row. Arnold, he didn't get 7 wins in a row. He got 6 in a row, and the last one was in 1975. He retired from bodybuilding, and he came back in 1980, and he won his 7th. Very controversial win as well. A lot of people felt like Arnold didn't win that, but he did win 7 Olympias, and now Phil Heath has won his 7th in a row. Next year, he will be attempting to tie the great Lee Haney and Ronnie Coleman with 8 wins for the most wins of all time. And both of them won 8 in a row. So let's just start with the top 5. At number 5, we had Sean Roden. It seemed like I know earlier in the year Sean Roden started his prep, he was pretty heavy, according to his diet coach Chris Aceto. He started his prep pretty heavy, so that may had something to do with his distended abdomen. This wasn't the best Sean Roden that we've seen. It looked like he did add some more size. He did have some issues controlling the midsection. Legs were huge and full as usual. The front double bicep was still pretty. The knock on Sean Roden, as we discussed in the prediction video, is his back, or the lack of detail and width in the back and the lack of thickness in the back. So Sean Roden came in at number 5. For the past few years, he's been number 2 and number 3, swapping with Dexter, and when Dennis Wolf was also in the mix, he was number 4. We have the timeless Dexter Jackson. This was a good Dexter Jackson here. No complaints. Dexter Jackson is Mr. Consistency. He'll be 48 years old. He still looks good. Legs still look good. Like I said before, usually when a bodybuilder gets up in age, his legs are the first thing to go. We saw that happen with the X-Man Tony Freeman. His legs started to dwindle. We see that with David Henry in the 212 division. Dexter Jackson came in at number 4. Thick, mature, grainy muscle. He's always in condition, always in shape. Looked like Dexter added a little size. I think they had him listed at 245. That's pretty big. That will be the biggest that he's ever been. And he still looked good. You know, the waist looked small. The belly was sticking out a little bit, but I think that's just more so of a breathing thing that some guys have. They just got to control. But everything looked good on Dexter. I love his most muscular pose, the crab most muscular, because his traps just explode off of his shoulders and neck, man. It looks crazy, and he's a smaller or shorter bodybuilder for the open division. So for some reason, when he hits that crab most muscular, it looks like it reminds me of a drawing of Wolverine or something. You know, when they draw Wolverine in the comic books, and Wolverine's short, but he's real stocky and swole. That's what Dexter Jackson reminds me of when he hits that crab most muscular. So Dexter at number 4, that's a pretty good placing. He's always in the top 5. At number 3, we have William Bonac, which he moved up a lot of spaces, man. And William, he looked good. I felt that he was pushing Rami for that number 2 spot. And you could tell that he was by the way the judges were moving him and Rami around in the comparison rounds. Bonac, man, he just out of everybody in the show, to me, him and Brandon Curry were the most impressive in the open, as far as the improvements that they made, the conditioning that they came in. He's the shortest guy in the lineup, I believe, in the open, but he packs a lot of muscle onto that frame, and it looks like he packs more than he actually weighs. He only weighed 228, the highest he's ever weighed. But I mean, it just looks compact, dense, you know. Now, the only thing I will say on him, and this is more so of a genetic issue, he's not as wide as the other guys. So it kind of makes you look away and look at Rami, look at Phil, look at Dexter, the bigger or wider guys. But Bonac is dangerous, man, for a man of his stature. He can do some damage, and I really don't think he needs to add any more muscle. 228, that's a lot of muscle on him. And he looked really good conditioning-wise. Now, at number 2, we have Big Rami. And I know a lot of people felt that there was a bit of controversy there with Rami coming in at number 2. Some guys thought he won. Personally, I didn't see that. To me, just to point out a few things. So Rami came in, he was listed at 295. I felt like he should come in at 290 or 295. My humble opinion, I'm not. I'm just a novice amateur, spectator commentator on the sport. So, but that's just what I thought. I didn't think he needed to come up above the 300 mark because he has plenty of muscle. It's just more so of a conditioning issue. Still had the wow factor. Now, to me, he looked a little flat and it looked like he was holding a little water under the skin. His quads did not look as defined as they usually do. The left quad looked a little weird to me. The sweep wasn't rounded. It kind of had like a blocky look from some of the shots that I saw. Now, when he hits the side chest pose, he pretty much kills everybody in the lineup. It looks amazing because he, as big as he is, he still has that small, tight midsection, small waist for a big man, excellent V-taper. Now, the shots that win the show is where he basically loses it and where Phil steps in and he always wins these shots. As wide and as big as Ramy is, he just doesn't have that muscle maturity and that density to his muscle to really take the focus away from guys like Phil. The shot that I'm talking about is the shots from the back double bicep and the back lat spread. Phil wins these every single year, hands down. And the way he does it is just that he has so much detail, so much symmetry, so much going on when he hits that back double bicep. Your eyes can't help but go to Phil. Like the hamstrings are popping, the glutes are locked in, shredded, striated, and from the bottom of his back all the way up to, the arms, the tricep is hanging. You see the bicep is separated. You see all this separation in every single muscle in the traps. I mean, it's insane how good that shot looks for Phil. And I think he wins the contest every year from that back double bicep and that back lat spread. He just has so much detail going on. And honestly, when he hits the shot, for as narrow as people say that Phil is, Ramy didn't look that much bigger than him to me. And you know what that is? That's the muscle maturity and the roundness and the fullness that Phil brings year in and year out. So it creates an illusion. And we all know bodybuilding is about illusions. Now, Ramy is 295 on stage. Phil may have been 255. He was listed at 252. I don't even know if he was 250. He did look a little bigger, so maybe he was 252, 255. So we can say that Ramy has a legitimate 40 pounds on Phil Heath, 40 to 45 pounds on Phil Heath. And he just didn't look that much bigger. It's the illusion. Phil's muscles just are round and pop. They're round, they're popping, they're pushing against the skin. And he just has so much detail and maturity to them. It makes you think, oh, well, Ramy's not that much bigger than Phil. Now, some shots you see it more than others, like the side chest, like I was saying, which Ramy kills. But even still, Ramy's quad is huge, but the hamstring isn't coming out as much. And I know he had a hamstring injury, I believe. But with Phil, when he hits the side chest, it's just detail everywhere. Once again, Phil Heath, he retains. And I know some people said, he had some bubble gut, as Louis Marco put it, issues. And he did. He did have some stomach issues. But even with that, Phil at 90% is just too much going on with his physique for him to lose. He's going to have to be very, very off. And everyone's going to have to be on. Like, this was not the best Ramy that we've seen. He honestly looked a little better last year. He was a little more conditioned last year. I definitely don't think Ramy did enough. There's no controversy here. Phil Heath was clearly the winner. Even when they were standing relaxed, he just looked like Mr. Olympia. And I know people were saying it's politics. Well, Ramy doesn't speak. It doesn't have anything to do with that. He won the contest fair and square. I know a lot of people don't like Phil. They say he's a jerk in person. Whatever, man. Like I always say, when it comes to athletes, I separate the man from the accomplishments. I don't know this man. I don't care about his personal life or anything like that. All I care about is, his dedication to the sport, and when he steps on stage and when he goes out on that field or that court or wherever, whatever field the athlete plays on. And you have to respect Phil as a true champion year in and year out. He stays hungry, even though he's at the top. He comes in with a chip on his shoulder like he did in his first Mr. Olympia. So you got to take your hat off to that, guys. And I know a lot of YouTubers and some of the other guys, that follow bodybuilding. They kind of been harsh on him because he had a little back and forth with Louis Marco. Sometimes they're friends, sometimes they're enemies. So they were going back and forth about the bubble gut thing after his win. And people were calling Phil out for being petty and whatnot, saying that, he should just disregard what he's saying. I don't care about none of that. I mean, honestly, y'all can sit up there and argue with the man all you want. The honest truth is that he won his 7th Mr. Olympia in a row, hands down. Probably got all first. And it really wasn't a contest. If you really think about it and stop being biased and stop being fanboys, Ramy did not beat him. I mean, he was actually battling more so with Bonac for 2nd place. Just because somebody is big does not mean they win the contest. It's so much more that goes into bodybuilding. That's why they need to bring back the symmetry round too. It's about symmetry, shape, the development of the muscle, all of that. It's not just about who's the biggest, who weighs the most. Yeah, Ramy's the biggest guy on stage, but how does he look compared to the other guys? And the other, Phil just genetically has a better shape than most of the guys in the lineup, except maybe a Cedric McMillan, a Dexter Jackson. There's only a few guys that can match up with him genetically as far as his shape and symmetry and what he brings to the stage. So no, it wasn't a controversy. You cannot look at these things with emotion and who you want to win. We saw the same thing happen with Kai Green. There was not one time that Kai Green was close to beating Phil Heath. Not one time. And it just comes down to genetics. That's it. When Kai used to hit his back lat spread, and Kai's back is very wide, wider than Phil's, it did not have as much detail as Phil Heath's had. Like Kai's back almost looked like a W. His lats come all the way down to his waist. It's amazing. It's amazing. But Phil, he just had more detail. Muscles were popping more. It was just too much going on. It looked like a cartoon. And the same thing with the back double biceps. I keep telling you guys, those are the shots that he kills it in. So we saw the same thing with Kai Green. Fans, he was a people's champ. Fans were crying and complaining about Kai got robbed. Now they're going to do the same thing with Ramy. I'm sorry. No. It's just, I don't care if you don't like the guy. I understand that. But take your emotions out of it. Look at it shot for shot. Phil won easily. It wasn't even that tough, guys. It really wasn't if you really look at it. Yeah, he was a little off, but so was everyone else in the lineup except William Bonac, maybe Nathan Diasha, Joshua Lenardowitz. But those guys still have a ways to go as far as muscle maturity and density to their muscle. I mean, that's pretty much it for your 2017 Mr. Olympia. I believe we had Rolly Winkler in 6th. Forgot who was in 7th. I would have to look at it again. But I know Rolly was in the top 10. Brandon Curry was in the top 10. Lenardowitz and Nathan Diasha, I believe that's how it played out in the top 10. I'm sorry I don't have it in front of me, but I really just wanted to focus on the top 5 and a little bit of the controversy amongst the fans about Phil winning number 7. But what did you guys think? Did you think Phil pulled it out easy, or do you think Ramy actually won? And if you do think Ramy won, tell me why. Explain why he won. That's something that I like to hear, because I respect everyone's opinion, but explain to me your opinion as I did. I'm not going to knock you if you feel a certain way, and you can break it down logically to me why you feel that way. That's cool. We're all spectators. We're all amateur commentators. We like certain things that we want to see on stage, and I may like certain things that I want to see on stage. So yeah, guys, in the comment section, let me know how you feel. Did you feel Ramy won? Did you feel Phil won? Do you feel maybe Bonac won the show or someone else? But as always, share, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Bro Hammer signing out.